wherever it is you might be viewing us from. This is the Football Gazette podcast, and this is an unusual installment. It's the YouTube live edition of the podcast. My name is Muyiwa Joshua, and I've got with me here Toby Akintola. Toby is a big wig when it comes to sportcasting in the brown roof city of Ibadan. Toby, it feels good to have you right here
Yeah,
on the podcast
uh,
this
of
afternoon.
course. Thank you so very much for having me.
Well, in the world of football, there is a whole lot to talk about. But before we dilly dally or beat around the bush, we will be delving into the proceedings, and that's the UEFA Champions League 2024-2025. Of course, it all starts from here. It's a new, or let me say, an unfamiliar territory or terrain this time around, because the format has now changed. Yes, you heard me correctly. The format has changed from what it used to be. So
Yeah,
from today now, we would be having a league-like
yeah,
table,
yeah. It's,
unlike the group A, group
mm,
B we used to have.
mm.
How does that feel like having much more, even more matches than we used to have? So,
Well, it's because we have been used to the old format. That's why we are saying this. Because even
mm.
before the old format, we had a format before that.
Cause make I no lie, you make I no lie. As it be like this,
Yeah.
I still never too dey
Yes,
comfortable.
because I mean,
Cause we never sabi wetin wan sup
yeah,
with
of
this
course, because it's
kind
actually
format.
it's a new phenomenon.
Mm.
It's an expanded format, meaning that teams will play more matches right now, and it's like a league format. But for me, I think it's more interesting now. More interesting now
But we
because
never even see am now. We haven't
yes,
seen
of
it
course,
yet.
of course. It's starting today.
Mm.
We'll start to see it today. And just imagine, just match day one, we are seeing a big game. AC Milan, Liverpool,
Yeah,
you
I guess that's
understand?
what this particular format
Definitely.
brings.
So, yeah, of course,
Right from the match day
match day
one, you're
one, we
going
have
to see
the big
game
game.
even what the UEFA Champions
Yeah,
League
because I
final.
mean, like the old format, you only see fixtures like this in round of 16,
Yeah,
maybe quarter
quarter
final. But
final.
this is just match day one. We have a big game coming up later tonight. So, but of course, I'm very sure that it was informed because of so many reasons. One is the issue of money.
Mm.
Because when you play more
They
matches,
need to
more money.
generate
Yeah,
more revenue.
although for me, I have reservations over that because
But
you
Toby,
have,
don't you feel it's a major disadvantage on the part of the players this
yeah,
time around, having to play a lot of matches in a season? For instance, now Manchester City, as it is now,
mm,
they might, if everything goes to plan, they might actually play up to over 60 something
of course,
matches this season.
Alisson Becker was speaking, the Liverpool goalkeeper was speaking 2 days ago, and he said, well, maybe the players were not even consulted before
Manuel Akoji even said
this
same thing.
new
He joked
format.
about retiring at the age
Because
30.
the players rising, they are going to play so many matches within the space of the short time, and it will tell on the health of the players. Actually, I remember that they played at the Euros, they played at the Copa America, and so they didn't have the summer all to themselves. Anyway, there was competition in the summer,
Yeah.
and now the season has started, and you're having an expanded format
Not
in
forgetting the
Champions
Club
League.
World Cup
Yes,
later
Club World Cup.
next
You
year.
also have cup competitions too in your various countries. You have the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, not forgetting the Premier League. So that means you are going to be playing every three days. That's what it means. You are playing on Saturday, you play on Wednesday, you play on Saturday. I think commercially it's good for the brand because it's more money for the clubs, actually. But in terms of the health of the players,
Performance.
performance,
We
because
might not
when
get
the
to see
player,
games at the topmost
yeah, because
level this time
when the
around.
player is playing so many matches, it will affect the
Yeah,
performance of that
fatigue
player.
get to
Fatigue will
set
set
in,
in.
and
And this is just we are just in September. By the time you get to October, November, you start seeing players getting injury. I mean, getting hamstring injury, thigh injury that will keep them out of action for a long time because they are playing so many matches. Fatigue is coming in. Some of them are actually breaking that. See Real Madrid, for example. This is just September. We've had like 6 of their players
the
out
list
injured
keeps growing right there
because
for
of
Real
injury, and
Madrid.
they've not even started. This is just match day one. So I think commercially it's good for the brand, more money. But in terms of how to manage the health of the players, it will affect them. But of course, the Champions League is for the big boys. What it means is that you must have a big squad as well.
Yeah,
That's
even
why
a squad depth
yeah,
to execute
yeah, the
matches
squad
as
depth is
well.
very important. That's why it's a big team. The Champions League is not for everybody. It's for the big teams, the elite clubs in Europe. So if
Maybe
they are,
that's why Chelsea are not playing in it.
of course, yeah,
You know, of course.
yeah. I mean, Chelsea have won the Champions League twice, so
Yeah,
they're a big club, but they're not,
compared to some other London clubs.
you don't need to. Let's forget about that.
No, we can't forget about that. That's all we need. That's all we need. Arsenal haven't won the
No, but
Champions
Arsenal
League
is
before.
playing the Champions. I know. I mean, that's the
Okay,
fact.
the fact that they are playing there doesn't necessarily mean or guarantee them winning it.
Nottingham, interestingly, Nottingham Forest have also won the Champions
Aston
League.
Villa. I mean,
So you say Nottingham
so
Forest?
I think it's a slap. I think it's a
I
slap
know.
on Arsenal,
I know.
on Tottenham.
I know.
So
But you say that Nottingham Forest is a bigger club than Arsenal.
no,
No,
of
they
course,
won the
of course,
Champions League medal,
I
so
won't
that's
say
what I'm
that.
saying. So, but that's what it brings. The new
Hmm.
format will bring excitement
For football
for
fans,
football fans. But for the players, I don't think they will like it because it will affect their heads and of course their
even the
mental.
psyche, I mean, the psychological,
Yes.
I mean, preparation going into matches.
Yes, of course. But it's very interesting. But I think the interesting part is just the fact that we'll be seeing big games from the World Cup.
Then for the white paper boys out there, I mean, this looks as though a very interesting time for them. You have quite a number of matches to actually do justice to. You know how you now you carry your over 2 point something, go corners and all. All right, before we get into the predictions and analysis of major matches to go down
Yeah.
this today and of course for the next 2 days, because contrary to what you used to see before, the Champions League now holds for 3 nights in a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. So those who banter the likes of Manchester United playing Thursday night football, even your superstars now play on Thursday night
But it's a
football.
different competition.
Yeah, it's a different
Champions League.
competition.
It's always
It's still,
Champions League.
it's still the blue Champions League competition.
Not
All right,
UEFA Conference League.
well, we thank everyone watching presently. We've just gotten that signal about 3 people live. Thank you so much. We hope in subsequent installment you can always keep tabs on us. You can swipe up the comment section and drop your predictions in preparation of the matches to go later this night. Well, Toby, let's start with Real Madrid's target. Real Madrid looks as though they've actually carved this niche
Yeah.
for themselves in the Champions League.
Specialist
They go
in the
into each Champions League as though it's their best right.
Of course.
They've won 14.
Yeah.
Are we going to be seeing them win 15? Okay, they won 15 actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won 15 the last season. So are we going to see 16 now? The journey starts today against Stuttgart.
Of course, I mean it's possible. They have the quality, and during the summer they added Kylian Mbappe, arguably one of the best forwards in world football. And I'm very sure Mbappe himself is at Real Madrid because of the Champions League. He didn't win it at Paris Saint-Germain, so it's coming to Real Madrid. They can win it. They have an experienced manager, Carlo Ancelotti, who knows he has mastered the art of winning the Champions League. He has mastered that, and even if Real Madrid does not do very well in the Spanish La Liga, I'm very sure the Champions League will do very well. We've seen this season already that they've not been doing very well in the league. Barcelona have been getting the headlines in the Spanish La Liga, but of course, when it comes to the UEFA Champions, that's a big league for Real Madrid. They just know how to come up to the.
I mean, they never put in the wrong foot in the Champions League.
And they know how to play Champions League, so they are the favorites. I mean, going to any Champions League campaign, you talk about Real Madrid as favorites. If there's anything that stops Manchester City, if not for Real Madrid, Man City will have probably won 3 Champions League trophies right now.
Yeah, I think Real Madrid has been
getting them out in the semi-final because you have a manager who understands the art of Champions League. And one about the Champions League is that it's not compulsory that you play beautiful football. Just know how to win. I mean, I saw last season Real Madrid, they were not impressive. I mean, it's not as if they were impressive going to the final, but they know how to win, getting like 9-minute goals. Do you understand? Vinicius Junior and the likes. So they have experience because experience counts in the Champions League, and you have a manager who has won it so many times. Carlo Ancelotti, they call him Don Carlo. He knows how to win. He's an Italian.
No one does it better than he does.
He knows how. I remember the game between Real Madrid and Manchester City, where Manchester City actually possessed Real Madrid. Real Madrid. They had more scoring chances, but they couldn't win. I mean, it doesn't matter.
You're playing against a master class.
He knows how to just put the tactics on the field of play that will neutralize any attack, and of course, you get the win. So it's the Champions. That's why I call it the Champions League, the biggest interclub competition in Europe. It's not for everybody. It's for selected clubs who have distinguished themselves to be world beaters.
So now this night they will be up against Stuttgart, and the journey actually starts here for a 16th UCL title. So what are the things you're thinking might actually play out in that particular fixture later on tonight?
Well, it's the first game of the season for Real Madrid in the Champions League. They're playing at home to Stuttgart. The Santiago Bernabeu, they're playing at home. And so we expect them to win that game. We expect them to win. And we expect Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Junior to bring their A game in today's game. They're playing against Stuttgart, not a big team in terms of heavyweight in European football. And but I expect them to win. It's going to be an interesting game today. I'll be surprised if Real Madrid drop points because they're playing at home. We expect them, they're defending champions,
Mm.
and this is their first game. And remember that this is not the former format where you have 4 teams in a group. That even when you lose your first game,
Yeah.
the road to qualify for round of 16
Starts today.
It's a league format.
Every goal counts.
It's a league format, so it means that if you start slowly, it might affect you. So you must start very well so that you'll be among those that automatically qualify for round of 16. So I expect Real Madrid, because if you don't qualify for round of 16 automatically, you're not going to play playoff again.
Yeah, it's really giving you more matches to play.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't think they want to do that. So I think they're going to win today.
So before we head into other matches to go down, your prediction for that particular one?
I think Real Madrid will win 3-1.
Well, I think I might want to go for a Real Madrid win, but then maybe a slim one, because I feel it's just the start of the season.
Yeah.
And Real Madrid presently,
and they've been struggling.
Yeah, they've been struggling in the league. Not like struggling,
they have to
then
depend on 2 penalties.
You know, we mentioned earlier, when you start having 2-3 players of the same profile in the same team,
yeah,
there tends to be a major problem. But you can always trust Don Carlo Ancelotti, like Toby mentioned earlier. He is he's mastered the act of winning the Champions League or doing well in the Champions League.
Remember, he won the for Real Madrid.
Exactly. So you can trust for him to do that this time around and this night again. Well, you can swipe up the comment section if you're watching us to drop your prediction ahead of that one. Real Madrid, the current champions of the Champions League, up against Stuttgart from Germany. Well, let's talk about this one. It was an historic UCL final involving Liverpool and AC Milan.
Istanbul. I remember
Istanbul, 2005, and it was really a hard nut to crack.
Yeah.
3-3, and Liverpool won it on penalties. Night again.
I mean, Liverpool had to come back from 3 goals.
Yes, had to come back. Yeah, that's the most interesting part of that matchup.
Yeah.
Having to come back from 3 goals down in a UCL final, it's something we haven't really seen in previous UCL final.
Of course.
I mean, I don't know. Is it that we've
2007, AC Milan actually took revenge. Liverpool.
Well. But then it wasn't as intense as that of 2005.
Yeah.
And in the past couple of seasons, I guess maybe Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid have been the ones.
Yes.
We haven't really seen that very tense final.
Yes, I mean,
since Liverpool, AC Milan.
See, I'm talking about Champions League finals that I've watched in recent times. I remember 2008 final between Chelsea and Manchester United. Remember that penalty? Fantastic final. 2006 between Arsenal and Barcelona. Very interesting. 2005 Liverpool, AC Milan. 2011, 2009. Remember United, Man United, Barcelona, that Lionel Messi. In 2011 too. We've seen finals in recent time, but of course the 2005 final between AC Milan and Liverpool was very interesting. Liverpool came back from 3 goals down at a time when other teams would have lost hope that of a comeback. They came back from 3 goals down and they won that game via penalties in Istanbul, and both are facing again today. I'm very sure that both teams will have this feeling of nostalgia, and they've met before. This is not the first time. So AC Milan have been, they actually one of the powerhouses in European football. Forget the fact that they have been struggling in recent years. Yes, they've been struggling in recent years, but we're talking about those clubs that have been the most successful in the history of the Champions League.
AC Milan will be up there.
AC Milan as well. So they've won multiple Champions League medals. So against Liverpool today, they are playing at home. AC Milan, they are playing at home. They are hosting Liverpool. Liverpool had a disappointing weekend, losing at home to Nottingham Forest. That was an unexpected loss to them.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that many expected that to happen, especially for the White Paper Boys. But of course, they lost that game. And I'm very sure now that Hans Slot, the Liverpool manager, will be looking forward to winning this one to actually assuage the fans.
Well, contrary to what we had envisaged, not more, but much people believed and Slot would get into the Premier League and proved to what is currently proving.
Yeah.
Take away that loss against Nottingham Forest, and Slot actually won the first 3 games without conceding any.
Remember, he went to
it's kind of painful to me. He couldn't just beat that record to be the first manager in Premier League history to win his first 4 matches without conceding a single goal. It was just inches close to that
Close,
particular
yeah,
record.
yeah.
But some way, somehow,
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest
I
had
think
other plans.
I think Anslot has actually slotted in. If I can use that word, to replace Jurgen Klopp. You know, Liverpool had fears when Jurgen Klopp announced
Left
that
that,
he
oh,
will
are we
not
going to meet
continue,
up with?
and people were thinking about maybe they are going to suffer the same fate of as United when Sir Alex Ferguson left, as Arsenal when Arsene Wenger left, because it's always very difficult to replace a legendary manager. Jurgen Klopp was Liverpool manager for more than 7 years. Yeah, and so to bring Anslot, more like a gamble for them, a risk, and coming from the Dutch league, not not a super league, you know. I mean, it's coming from the Dutch league, not one of the top five leagues in Europe. So we're not sure of what to expect from from Anslot, but he has done very well. On a lighter note, I was telling somebody, I said maybe Liverpool, you know, Anslot and Eritrean, they are badded. Akpari, the one is so
Yeah.
to say, but one is different from another one. You understand? So that's on a lighter note.
Okay.
So, but Slot has done very well for Liverpool. And they are one of the heavyweights. They are going to contend for the Premier League title this season. And they are also a club you should look forward to. You should watch out for the Champions League because
What's that?
Liverpool, they won it last time in
Okay.
2018, right? Was it
Yes,
20
yes, I think that should be
Okay,
2018.
2018. I mean, recently.
I think that
Okay,
should be
2018 they
2018.
lost to Real Madrid.
Okay.
Okay, 2018 they lost to Real
They
Madrid.
won recently against
I think 2022.
was it against Liverpool? Against Tottenham?
Yeah,
Against Tottenham, they won the Champions League against
So
Tottenham.
they have the record as well. They've won it before. So they are one of the teams that you can bank on and say, okay, this season maybe they can win the Champions League. And the road starts today. They go to AC Milan. They have the quality. In fact, a player like Darwin Nunes, who cost Liverpool £85 million from Benfica some years ago, is not starting games for Liverpool.
I think we haven't
That tells
really
you the
seen
quality.
much from Liverpool.
That tells the quality in Liverpool. I mean, they have Luis Diaz, they've got Mohamed Salah, and they've got
now Chiesa is
Chiesa
in
is
line.
there.
I mean,
they have quality up front. They have the quality, and this is a team that, of course, when you are playing against them, you should be afraid.
So for AC Milan now, basically they should be afraid of Liverpool later on tonight.
But you know, this is the Champions League. That's why it's Champions
It's a
League.
different
It's a
game
different
ball.
game. The fact that you are struggling in the league does not mean you'll be struggling in the Champions League. The Champions League brings a different ambience, a different vibes actually. I remember the season Chelsea won the Champions League, 2012.
Yeah.
Chelsea, I think they finished outside the top four that season, but they still managed to win the Champions League in 2012 because the league form is different from the Champions League form. It's quite different, you know. From all the years that Real Madrid have been winning the Champions League, they didn't win the La Liga all those years. That tells you that when in the Champions League, all the best players want to play in the Champions League. We see players move from one club to another.
So if I'm to ask you now, I mean, this has always formed some part of our conversation on the podcast. So the Champions League and the league, either the Premier League or the La Liga, which do you think seems tougher or more difficult to win?
See, the league, to win the league is quite different from the Champions League. A league is a marathon, it's not a sprint. You play 30 games. You need consistency to win the league. You need determination to win the league of your
So aside from being good or playing good football,
you can be
you
good.
have to maintain that.
Yes, you can be good and you falter. See, one thing about the Premier League or other leagues across Europe is that if you are not consistent for a period of time, for a long stretch, just a simple mistake, you just find yourself at the back foot. That's the league for you. The Champions League is a bit different. It's a cup competition, just like the World Cup. You can fumble and wumble and get to the final. It's possible. Especially when we used to have the away goal. Remember, a team will come to your house, you play 2-1, you lose 2-1, then you go to your house, you win 1-0. You can, just because of the away goal, you go for the next day. Yes, but in the league format, you need to win games. You are playing against and you can avoid the big guns too in the Champions League. You can if you are lucky. Yes, because for example now, I think there was a season that I can't really remember right now. Two teams were playing the semi-finals, and those semi-finals would have passed for a final. The other semi-final was more simpler. You know, once you do this one, don't go final. Do you understand?
So the final was just like a walk in the park.
Yes, but in the league, in the Premier League, for example, you just have to beat the best. So you can't tell me that you win the Premier League without beating teams like Man City, like Arsenal, like Man United. You know, those are the teams that are also contending for the Premier League.
Yeah.
But the Champions is also very difficult. Very difficult. But you see, Champions League also requires a bit of luck sometimes.
Yeah,
A bit of luck sometimes.
Mm.
Champions is about practice.
which you don't get to see in the
In the
league.
league. So, for example, I just remember this game, 2010 Champions League semi-final, Inter Milan, Barcelona. Pep Guardiola was at Barcelona then, Jose Mourinho at Inter Milan. The first leg at San Siro, Inter won that game by 3-1. And they went to Camp Nou. Barcelona thought that, well, second leg, we are going to beat Inter Milan. You know what Jose Mourinho did? Pack the bus.
Of course,
Pack
that's his
bus,
trademark
they pack
tactic.
the bus. And when I was looking at the statistics of the two matches, do you know that Barcelona had more than 5,000 passes in the two matches, two legs, while Inter got just a little over 1,000 passes, and they won the game. No, Mourinho pack the bus, get to go defend. That's it. That's Champions League. But a league format is different.
You won't be able to do that in the
long
league.
stretch. Let's calculate the games they are going to play for the Champions League. Let's say we're talking about the former format.
Yes, that would be like 7, 8 games.
Yes, let's say in the group stage you play
6. You play 6. You
Is
play
it
against
6?
You play against 3 opponents
you
home
play
and
6,
away.
then
That's
round of
6
16
games.
making 8, right?
Yeah.
Then quarter final making
10.
10, semi-final making 12,
Yeah,
final
13.
13. Then in league format you play 38 games. That's a long stretch.
So we can easily deduce now from your
The
illustration
league is
that
difficult.
the league is really difficult.
It requires consistency and determination for that long period.
Hmm.
Because you know that things are coming behind you.
Well, that's for Liverpool and AC Milan to actually take note of. Liverpool, what Toby actually said there was that the league form is quite different from what we see in the Champions League. So you need to watch your back. AC Milan might actually stroke you anything from the back if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about another representative from the English Premier League, and that's Aston Villa. Well, they will be playing against Young Boys from Switzerland. Young Boys, these are familiar face in the Champions League.
They're not a big team.
Not a big team, but then they are these always present guys in the Champions League.
Now, so
Yes.
them to qualify.
So they will be squaring up against an equally yoked Aston Villa, so to put it. I wouldn't know if you have an opinion that differ, but I want to believe maybe Young Boys and Aston Villa can equally be
it's
yoked.
because of the rating of the leagues actually. Young Boys, a big team in Switzerland, but Aston Villa, they finished 4th last season. Unexpectedly, nobody gave them a chance to finish.
Well, then they actually played their way to finish.
Of course, I mean, Unai Emery did a good job. I mean, last season with Aston Villa, and interestingly, they got some.
I think they've even picked up from where they left off.
And they got some very interesting players before the start of the season, like some Ian Martin, joined from Chelsea. They got Armando Onana from Everton, cost them £50 million, a defensive midfielder. And so they have quality in their team. Not forgetting the fact that they have Oli Watkins, one of the best strikers in the Premier League. And there's this young guy, John Durant, young guy, scoring goals for Aston Villa. So
not even normal goals.
Fantastic goals and screamers actually. So I mean, they have the quality. But you see, it's Aston Villa, it's not Manchester City. They are coming to the Champions League for the first time in so many years. They were in the Champions League before now. I just hope that they will not be like Newcastle United. Remember Newcastle United?
Yeah, that year.
They played the Champions League, they finished 4th, and people thought, well, but the following season,
they were beating blue-black like their color.
Because Champions League is the competition for the big boys. It's about quality, it's about experience, very important. Quality experience. That's what wins the Champions League for you. So even if you have the quality, but you don't have the experience, Unai Emery is an experienced manager. I mean, he has won the Europa League multiple times with Sevilla and Villarreal, but this is the Champions League with a different club in Aston Villa. I hope they will go far, but I don't see them. If they are lucky, getting the round of 16, I mean, that would have been a massive achievement for Aston Villa, but I don't think they will exit the round of 16. Even if they get the round of 16, it's a good one. But let's wait and see what happens. They are playing away today against Young Boys. Young Boys is not a small team in Champions League too against Aston Villa.
That's what I said.
I think I expect them to beat Aston Villa today.
Wow, that's a big call, really big call right there. Well, let's see what becomes of that particular matchup between Aston Villa and Young Boys. Although not many support Aston Villa or Young Boys from this side of the divide. But then let's see what becomes of the outcome of that one. Before we round up this afternoon, there is one particular team I want us to discuss about. Of course, it really caught my interest earlier. Bayern Munich. a certain Bayern Munich who has been led by Vincent Kompany. I
Mm.
mean, they haven't been doing so badly for themselves in this
Down.
Bundesliga
Yeah.
and even preseason games. They will be playing today. I think they should be playing today. Right. They should be playing today
Yeah.
Bayern Munich in the
Yeah.
Champions League. How impressed have you been with Vincent Company out of nowhere,
Mm.
taking a team to the relegation in the Premier League, then coming back to take a job as huge as that of the Bavarian?
I think Bayern Munich is actually an organized club. I'm not surprised that he's getting results there. You, you don't need to be a top class manager.
Do you think his input is the one working, or there's a working structure
There
in
is
place?
structure. That's what I'm saying. You don't need to be a top class manager to do well at Bayern Munich. To be honest, other clubs they are no match to Bayern Munich. Last season, Bayer Leverkusen won the Bundesliga, but we're surprised that happened. They have the quality in that team. Harry Kane has been scoring goals for fun in the Bundesliga. I hope that this season will count for Harry Kane. I mean, for all the goals he has scored for Tottenham, for Bayern Munich, for the English national team, he's yet to win a trophy. I hope that this season, last season, we were thinking that hey, he will win the Bundesliga, but he joined Bayern Munich. Bayer Leverkusen won the Bundesliga. He couldn't win the Champions League for Bayern Munich. So they have the quality. They are also one of the teams that we are watching out for this season in Champions League because of their quality. What might count against them is probably the experience of their manager, Vincent Kompany. Yes, he's doing very well in the league. They expect to win the league then anyway, but the Champions League is a big. Okay, let's look at the managers that have won the Champions League in recent time. Pep Guardiola has won just 2 Champions League. As good as Pep Guardiola is, he won the Champions League with I think twice or 3 times. He won the 2009. Who was the
But a certain Zinedine Zidane with little or no experience at all as a manager. I'm not talking about as a player. Of course, he had a couple of that with Real Madrid in times past. As a manager, actually won 3 on the bounce.
Because he had Ronaldo. Ronaldo was there.
Well, that's a topic for another day. Was Ronaldo really instrumental to Zinedine Zidane's success winning 3 Champions League?
Yeah, of course. Ronaldo was. See, let me bring you back to 2008, 2012 when Chelsea won their first Champions League trophy. It was a certain Roberto Di Matteo that won the Champions League for Chelsea, and he's inexperienced manager. What Jose Mourinho couldn't do for Chelsea, Jose Mourinho did not win the Champions League for Chelsea. A certain Roberto Di Matteo came in 2012, won the Champions League. In 2008, when Chelsea got to the final and lost to United, it was Avram Grant that was unknown. So you don't need a super coach to win the Champions League. What you need is the quality. Do you understand? The determination of the players matters as well. It's not about experience. Experience counts actually. I'm not saying it does not count, but I'm saying that the quality of your team can. Aston Villa is in the Champions League. Pep Guardiola can win the Champions League with Aston Villa.
Yeah, you mentioned something earlier, and I think we need some bit of clarification on that. You said for Bayern Munich, Bayern looks as though a team with a well-working structure that even average managers tends to thrive. Right there with Bayern Munich.
The barest minimum for any manager is to win the Bundesliga.
What happened to Thomas Tuchel?
Well, I think
no. I just want us to analyze a little bit of analysis. What do you think actually went wrong with Thomas Tuchel at Bayern Munich?
I think the issue of Thomas Tuchel was with more like a player and coach battle at Bayern Munich. He's a fantastic manager. He came to Bayern Munich and had issues with the big boys there. No matter how good you are as a coach, you have
so probably he was intentionally played against by players.
Yes, of course. I mean, he had issues with Thomas Muller. These are big boys in Bayern Munich. I mean, if you want to be a successful manager and you are fighting with these big boys, it affects you. I remember a time when Andre Villas-Boas was Chelsea manager in 2011. I mean, there was Lampard, there was Drogba in that team. Villas-Boas was 33 at the time when he became Chelsea manager. He had issues with these big guys and they fell out. And started playing. What's it that when you sack a manager? I mean, this thing I've always been noticing these new manager bans kind of. When you sack a manager, no matter how bad the results are, by the time you bring another manager, most time they win their first game. So watch it, the same player, watch it because it's a new coach you want to impress. Do you understand? So that's what happened. So I think he had issues with, and again, Thomas Tuchel has this rigid style of play. He's not flexible. He's not a flexible manager. He's a good manager. He's not a flexible manager. He has this rigid, more like Antonio Conte kind of a manager. Do you understand? There are managers that are not flexible. Antonio Conte, Jose Mourinho, they are predictable. You know what they will do, but they are very good at what they do. They put, I remember Antonio Conte was one that introduced these three
Yeah,
man
three at the back,
at the
where
back.
you have wingers who
Victor
actually go
Moses
front
and
and come
Marcos
back.
Alonso,
Marcos
and he
Alonso
brought that
that year.
formation and they won the league. So he had issues with the players and that affected him. I'm very sure Vincent Kompany now will say, okay, the big boys at Bayern Munich, well, I'm here to succeed. I
So
need
it's
your
going to be
support.
as humble as
Of course, he
possible.
should be humble. Must be humble. Must be humble.
Well, they kickstart their Champions League journey today, this night. What do you think might actually be the outcome of that one before we round off? Because looks like we're running
Well,
out of time.
it's a match that they should win. Like we've discussed in the previous matches that we talked about, Real Madrid and the rest. It's a league format. So you start picking the points from match day one. Very
So
important.
basically, you expect all the big guys to actually do well,
Yes,
at least
you
for the
do, so that
match
they
day
can
one.
qualify automatically. Because if you don't do that, you play playoff, and that's more matches.
All right, football fans out there, thanks for being a part of this very first installment of the live YouTube podcast. Well, you can swipe up the comment section, like I said earlier, drop your 2 cents, especially your predictions as it concerns the UEFA Champions League match day one, not for today alone, Wednesday, and of course, Thursday night. But for Manchester United and Chelsea, we would get back to Europa League and, of course, the UEFA Conference League in weeks to come. Until some other times when we get back here to do this once again, do stay good and safe. Peace out.